Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here, first of all. I think that we reached out to the huddle when I've forgotten I think it was Jordan's talk, and I was just like, yeah, we want to do our own huddle, I guess. And I love this design particularly. I don't know who came up with this. I feel like I want to give them a special shout out, but I really like this. Hi, everyone. My name is Edwin Madu, aka Dwin the Stoic. I'm, as he said, many things: singer-songwriter, musician, recently label founder, or not too recent, about a year plus. We'll be talking about all of these things in a bit. So, the title of my talk today is For the Plot. Usually, when people talk about doing things for the plot these days, it's usually because there is a negative thing they don't want to have to address. It's just like, I'm going to do it anyway. However, I'm taking a different approach to it. What if you do something for the plot and it's for good? What if you did something that could change your life? And that's what we're going to get into now. I started music for the plot. I started doing music professionally for the plot. It was not supposed to get this serious. It was not that deep. But it became that deep. It became my entire career now. And we're going to walk through how that happened. So let's do a quick, who's this guy? St. Clair Records. It's an independent record label and management company currently managing me, my collaborator Rafi, and the group I'm part of called Ignis Brothers. We're all under this label, and we are trying to change the soundscape in Nigeria, and we're doing it slowly. The other things here, Supply Edu. It's an edtech supply chain platform that teaches people about what it means to be a supply chain professional. I'll explain why that exists. It's founded by my father and sister. I'm CTO, not founder because I didn't do a lot of they're like, hey, you did tech, didn't you? And that's what happened there. But the other things, writer, performer, singer, songwriter, composer, editor, and amateur filmmaker. Because, yeah, I will not stop. We'll find out why all these things are on the board, soon. Now, when I was trying to make this, there was a lot of work happening, but I found this tweet, forgotten where, but the person goes, I'm almost 50 and here's the best thing I've learned so far. Every strange thing you've ever been into, every failed hobby or forgotten instrument, everything you've ever learned will come back to you. It will serve you when you need it. No love, however brief, is wasted. Now, it does sound very grand, but the thing that you love, the things described here, will not necessarily shake the ground beneath you. It will not necessarily, your love for crocheting might not save anyone's life, but you'll be an interesting person to talk to somewhere down the line to someone who loves crocheting. That's a lot of what my For the Plot agenda is. You are just going to gather things because adulting, while the scam that it is, it also means you can do anything. You can just do stuff as an adult. That's once you discover that as an adult, you find that you can just try things. You can decide to pick up crocheting. And as long as you know what it takes to do the thing and you accept that, you can do anything, really. And so, this image will come up a couple times because when it comes to a plot in a film, everything every character does, every step they take, every word they say is in service of the story, is for the plot. The difference between that and real life is pretty much the same thing, but the difference between that and real life is that real life, you're not sure what the plot is most of the time, right? But what I'm encouraging us to do, I guess, is to just keep doing, right? The plot becomes apparent eventually. This was my plot, unknowns to me, but this is pretty much a strategy for how we deal with music at St. Clair Records. This is how we think of it. Of course, it's just a lot more than this, but everything kind of falls under each of these things. I will explain them more as we go on, but let's just... So, because we're doing things for the plot, I figured we'll do a story. So, one night in 2017, I sat my parents down and told them that I was going to make an album. I lived with them at the time. I had gotten a job at a tech firm. I was working as a technical consultant, using my degree in computer science and just earning money. And I could save, and that meant I could do sessions. In fact, by the time I was telling them this, I had done a couple sessions. My weekends were now for making this album called Heavy Heart. And when I said this to them, I told them, I'm not asking permission. I am informing you what I will be doing while I live under your roof. This is not how I speak to my parents normally. But I was being assertive. I was 22, and it was important that I let them know that this was important to me. Because I had sat them down before, in 2011, just before university, or just as I was about to enter. And I sat them down and gone, I think I want to make music. I want to record a song. Because at that time I started, and my father, he treated the promise in a very tactical way. I love how he did it. He said, that thing where a Nigerian parent goes, they don't belittle, but they make the thing you say that you want not sound so large. Like, is it not too? We can't do it. So my father goes, oh no, that's cool. Music? Is it not music? Go to school. Get your degree. I will pay for your studio session. Whatever it is, just get that degree. He didn't pay for it. I just feel like I should say that. But my parents were like that. They will actually not shut down your dreams, but they will teach you to be practical. They will say, sure. I came to them with that assertiveness, that certainty, because I have a job. I'm saving. I'm doing all the good things that I'm supposed to be doing. This is the one thing that I'm going to step out of bounds. It's not a thing. In fact, I'm just going to go forward and go back. This was what I said to myself. It's just one album. We'll call it a songwriter's resume. I want to write for other people. I don't really want to be a thing. I mean, of course, that's changed, but... So as a kid, what was music? Music was very important in our house. My father, while he was in uni, at some point to make money, he DJ'd. He worked on radio, had a thing for Proverbs, and that was kind of his thing on radio. And that love for music translated into the records in the house, into Jim Reeves playing. And there was a wide range, which is why, as we go along, you see that I'm trying to explore different genres of music because of the kind of music I listen to, genre became more of a suggestion. It's more, what do I need from Afrobeats, but also what strings, what did Peruzzi write on this song that sounded nice, but what did Mozart do on so-so piece? Why not, right? And so all of these things, from listening to Oriental Brothers, the High Life Band, to the Beatles, great songwriters across genres, it informed, who I was. And this is my family. My second sister, who St. Clair is named after, isn't pictured here. Have reasons. But yes, there's three of us, three of my siblings. You see, I didn't put myself because this is enough for this slide. I still own this, by the way. I took it from my father and just kept it because, So my parents would encourage you and they say, you know what, do the thing you want to do, but be practical. And so these were the years leading up to the album in 2018. The album came out in 2018. In 2015, I left university. But as you can see, it's not my graduation picture there because I'm more proud of this picture with Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie because the same week where I was graduating, I was finishing from the workshop, which had, it was one of those things, applying to it was also for the plot. I had seen it. I'd heard people talk about it. And the day was closing. I quickly ran to one of my short stories, selected the first 800 words because that was the limit, and I sent it. And when I got the email, I thought it was a scam because people play with your feelings like that. But eventually, it became apparent that. And this was now a validation for me as a writer. I was writing short stories only. By this time, music was always a thing for me. I wrote my first song in 2007, and in every book that has been mine, every jotter, every note you find that has been mine, if you turn to the back, you will find lyrics of all sorts. This is, if you go as far back as secondary school till now. I have one in my bag. I'll show you just for proof later. But every book I own, mostly because you tend to, and this started from school. The front part of your book is where you do serious work. Nobody checks the back, at least not till you get there. And so I would scribble and do things at the back there. So I was a writer now, and it was time for NYSC. And I said, I don't have to rush into this corporate life, no? So I'm going to take a job as a writer at an ad agency, Hero 78, and they work with different clients, from Nibs, the guys who sometimes help us, sometimes don't, with their ups and downs, but we'd work with them. We'd worked with Coca-Cola, Pepsi, a bunch of other people, social media, content, strategy, a lot of that. I worked on documentaries as well. It was one of those roles where you're just a writer. What specific type of writer will come up when the thing comes up? So it's like, are we writing a caption today, or are we writing scripts for a documentary? You will find out, right? And so that was a lot of my 2016. But between these two, there was a bit of pressure, because as you can tell, it wasn't paying that much, and it was NYSC, so there was a bit of padding. But once NYSC is done, you kind of, need to rethink things. And so I dusted off my degree. My parents advised that I get a job, and I did. I got one. This is my ID card from Inlax. I worked as a technical consultant. What this meant was I was going across West Africa to different banks and pension houses and a bunch of places to work on their software, either fix issues or create new solutions for them. And so this is what I was doing when I decided to make an album. Now, I want to take us back a bit because I want you to see something. Oh, okay. I think I lost connection. Okay, we're back. Okay. So, back to this. Very recently, I've just encountered a lot of fantasy work that, based on the idea of collecting multiple things, right? The last Airbender has to learn a bunch of elements. The Avengers have to collect all the Infinity Stones and the one thing. The one ring to rule them all. There seems to just always be you have to collect things. You need to make yourself more, right? And then I think, that's what's happened here. I had made the decision to put out this album. At this point, I had put out 2 songs on SoundCloud. I wouldn't say I wasn't proud of them. I just didn't think I could come out and say I'm a musician. I couldn't say it. And so I'm just like, that's why you see that thing with the songwriter's resume. You know that thing when you're scared and so you again, belittle the thing you want to do. You're just like, yeah, it's not that. And at the time that was what it was. So I tried to make sure the pictures correlate with the years. So just, we're on a journey, And in 2018, Heavy Heart, the album, Braveheart by Ignis Brothers, a band I'm part of, because guess what? I figured, why not also have a band while also doing a solo career, because, one is not enough. But it just felt fun. Again, it was the adulting thing, realizing I can just have a group and we'll put out music while I also do solo work, because I've seen some people do that. From Sting with The Police to a bunch of other artists who were in groups but also did solo work. Beyonce, also huge on that list. I was like, she did it. This is 2018 in just a lot of scattered pictures. I will go through a couple of them. This is me and 30. 30 is a friend of mine. We've been friends since secondary school, and we co-produced my first album. He was the one who, in 2013, called me just like, hey, remember that song we wrote sometime in secondary school, because we're in uni now? And at the time, he was friends with Stoic Madu and IBK, the 2 producers in Covenant University at the time. And he had said, they've made a beat, just come and sing the song. And that's how I recorded my first song. This was in 2013. And so when in 2018 I had written the song Ghost, and I wanted to record it, I called him. And he goes, cool, we can record this. But a few days later, I'm like, I count the songs I have that feel like full songs, and we're nearing 20. I feel like I want to do an album. And I text him, and he's like, finally. I'm like, okay, cool, we're doing this. This was one of my first, I'm working with a brand to put on a show. I'd seen them do, it's pretty much like what happened with The Huddle. I saw them do something with someone. I'm like, hey, how far? I have an album coming out, and this happened just before the album came. I did a listening, did a shoot. They were again, barest minimum I felt I could do for this album, but I did it. There was a Heavy Heart digital booklet. I wanted to do a thing. Of course, I still have dreams of making, when an album comes with the boxes, yeah, that's going to happen. Probably this year. But this was my version of it. You could download the digital booklet. It had lyrics. It had a couple things about the songs. And 2018 was fun. Okay. I'm trying to play, there's a video here. It's a song off the album. It's called Happy Song, and it was directed by the Grand Vizier. His name is Femi. It's a stop motion. This was the only video I did for the album. Let me just watch it.
There's been a lot on my mind since you left me here alone. I tell myself I'll be fine, ignore the pain in my bones. I wrote this song a while ago. It had a happy melody, changed the words and made it slow. Now you're not here next to me. So, where are you? Where have you gone? It's hard to do these things alone.
I just really wanted you guys to see the boss before I cut it. So, Happy Song was the only video we made, but we premiered it just like this at the Heavy Heart Listening. It was in a place in Ikoyi, and I gathered as many people as I could who were my mailing list at the time. I was like, hey, I'm dropping an album, come and listen to it and watch a video. And so at the time, in 2018, what did we do for this plot that we didn't know of yet? I was recording every weekend. Literally, Monday to Friday was intense work because I was new in the company, so I was learning how to be a technical consultant. But during my weekends, Saturday, Sunday, I would be in the studio with 30 working on the album. This happened for about 3 months. Of course, inadvertently, I didn't know I was basically building up muscle. I could record under just in short time, very quickly, all of that. I did ads. I was figuring it out. I lost money this year and the next because, yeah, that's what happens when you're trying things. Sync, which is a very interesting part of this. So over time, I learned that my music pairs well with visuals. It pairs well with film. And so I'm taking advantage of it as we go along. And so in my first year, I had the chance to work with the guys at Ndani. We had done Skinny Girl in Transit Season 5. If you listen to it, almost the entire Heavy Hearts album is there. I put exposure here because I want to say that I knowingly said, I'm not getting any money from this, but this is going to reach a lot more people, so go ahead. Again, remember, this was for the plot. I had, at this time, in fact, I expected music to take money from me, so I was not expecting anything back. So I did it. So what was I doing for money, which is what business development is a lot of times. And I was using my savings, yes. I was emptying my pockets, taking up some side gigs, writing for other people. I had a couple of people reach out to me, actually, after I did like the first and second singles. And at the listening party, I sold CDs, and someone, it was such I don't know if you've ever been to these, when parents launch things, like maybe your father wrote a book and his friend would come and be like, oh, I'm buying 1 million worth of, it was like that. Someone bought like 25 CDs at once. I don't know what she did with them, but she just really wanted to help, and it was very nice to see. And so, sorry, I'll give you a bit of a, so this is, every year I had this thing that I look back on and I'm like, this is what I was thinking at the time. And so 2019 was so we've done this, let's just do more, right? But this has a deeper application to who I am as a person. So, my name is Dwin the Stoic, and I feel like that question was going to come anyway, so I'm going to just address it now. When you Google the word Stoic, you usually find two definitions. One is that it's the English word we're used to, someone who's just emotionless, straight-faced, etc., etc. The second definition is that it's a branch of philosophy. In the time when I chose this name, I was fine with the first, and I didn't bother with the second for the plot. Yes, I know it exists, but I just figured, you know what, I could make this a thing where a person who is stoic making emotional music, ooh. However, as I am finding myself, researching, doing more, learning, I find that the Stoic philosophy applies to me in many ways. I actually am Dwin the Stoic. It felt very serendipitous. But there's one part of Stoicism has a lot of things like memento mori, which is just remembering that you're not going to be alive always. This is the thing I always thought was just a thing I thought about because I'm an artist. But this philosophy is a thinking that some people have just made. And so there's one called amor fati, and it's about leaning into things. So something has happened. It basically says things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And of course, this doesn't always look apparent to you. Things happen and they're not great. But the whole idea of amor fati is if you fall, you lean into that fall. What can happen in that fall? What can you get out of that fall? And if you're rising, what can you do with that as well? It's both ways. And so here I was. I had an album that had some exposure. Now, it wasn't groundbreaking. I could show you some of the... In fact, I will show you some of the... Oh, yeah, I'll explain that in a bit. These were January 2019 numbers. We released the album in July 2018. And so 1,000 streams on Apple Music by the time we got to January. It's not a lot. Now, I will explain this image before we get to the rest of it. It's from the show Friends. They are carrying a couch upstairs, and this man keeps screaming, "Pivot!" But it's supposed to signal what's happening in my non-music life. I am pivoting as well. I am taking up a new role in 2019. It's the first time I'm CTO of something. It's an e-commerce store, and it gives me a bit more time to do music, but not as much, because again, it's still a job. But in that time, we do something interesting. Every artist that's currently a St. Clair artist puts out a single in 2019. Me and Rafi is a producer primarily, but he does everything. And he has a new song coming out next week featuring me. Check it out. Rewind was the first song we did together. It was going to spell what would become Love Lane, the collab project from both of us. This was the first time we just said, hey, let's just, two of us, just do a thing. And it was also the first time I was speaking Pidgin in a song. And it was an intentional thing. I said, I speak, like in the same way that I speak French and I was singing French, why not sing in Pidgin? It would turn out to be useful again down the line, because by the time I'm recording Streets many years later, it's not new. It's what it is. You've heard Rewind, you've heard Pack Your Load. You don't be disappointed. I don't expect anybody to be disappointed. I'm making music I like, but it's more, that you can open a song and I will be doing some weird things, right? So leave it. And then Alien at Home. This was from Ignis Brothers. I want to play it. I believe it's on this page.
These walls are closing in, and I'm losing my confidence. It's alright to be broken sometimes. I swear I've been here before. In my hands the keys that fit this door. Oh, why do I feel like a lost soul? I tried to run from my pain. I took a trip to outer space. I've been there a long time, but then the voices called me home. Now I'm here, I don't belong, and so I put this in a song. So tell me, have you ever been all alone when you're at home, when there's no one there to hold? Oh, tell me, have you ever felt like you made a mistake, like you're a nail in the hole?
Yeah, okay. So, 2019, Ignis Ross put out Alien at Home, me and Rafi put out Rewind, and I put out Go With Me. Go With Me is my first, because I met Rafi late in 2018, and this man is very significant because he introduced me to Rafi because he wanted us to do a song together. He had been working with Rafi for a while, and he heard my album and was like, we have to make a song together. And we eventually, like after a lot of postponing, we see. Then he takes me to the studio, and we work on a song that night. The song never gets put out. I think he's gone off to, like, he's doing a lot of businesses and is very successful, but we never put out that song. But from that night, me and Rafi just kept hanging. We don't take a lot of videos of our process. Very recently, we started doing that because now we have, a team, and so they can help us with that. But a lot of times, so it's why you won't see a lot of pictures of me and Rafi in the studio until recently, because we just stayed there and just worked. We didn't document a lot. And this was 2019. This is me and Ruka. We're Ignis brothers, and we're performing at I think a show in Freedom Park. This was at Ake Festival in 2019. This was Zikoko's Underground in 2019 that I would go on to have to work at Zikoko as editor-in-chief. By the time, I didn't know. So these are the things where I think I did that for the plot as well. I saw someone doing it. I was like, this would be nice. Let's do it. And we did it. Sorry. So I wanted to show just the beginning of this mostly because this was my first, I'm going to just make something to go out with the song because I didn't do any visuals for...
Are you asleep? Are you awake? There's a feeling I can't shake. I want to tell you, can't find...
That was from a trip to Ganvier I had done, so the water, and then the bookstore was Ouida in Ikeja. And I had asked a friend who had a really good phone at the time to just, let's make a video. So what have we done in 2019? We didn't do any sync because, again, I think work really just took its toll on me that year. We're doing our split sheets on Google Sheets. A split sheet is kind of how you decide who gets what on a song, right? This was also the year where I really got into my Canva bag because every cover made there was made with Canva. I'm sure you can tell. But Canva will get better as a product, and I would also just grow with it, which is fun to see. But in this year, we are doing more. We're recording a lot. We're doing shows. We're learning to be on stage. We're learning to be musicians. But again, for the plot, we still had jobs. I still had a job. We're still doing what we're doing but again, because I usually don't stay one place. Towards the end of 2019, I wanted to try something else career-wise. I had applied to 2 companies that I was sure I was going to get into. I didn't. And so early 2020, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to try to, be a freelancer. I have a couple of skills. I worked in tech. And it was good for the first 1 or 2 months. I had paid for a co-working space. But I was like, I'm going to be a little businessman. And then the funniest thing happened, COVID. And we went back inside, and we were inside for a while. I faced despair in ways I didn't think I could. But it was a very interesting year because even at the start of the year, we had said we'll focus on the band. The band was going to put out their first album. And what that meant was all the learnings from 2018, 2019 was going to apply to this album. We're going to do something different. And so Alien at Home was the first song that we had put out, but now we're sure, you know what, we want to do a whole album. And what that meant was once we had time, like once we were able to leave the house, we're going back to the studio. We're working on completing the album. The album, The Cost of Our Lives by Ignis Brothers, came out on 14th of August in 2020. It's a body of work I'm very proud of. I think it was it was the first time me and Rafi and Ruka, we just went in and just made a project and just said, here, this is the first thing from 3 of us. At the time, now I remember how I said despair and all that, yes, but after I got over that, I decided to pick up Node.js. It's a programming, it's a back-end programming language. And I did, but just to create this, the contract aid. It was an idea to just, if you're creative and you need to check a contract or create one for cheap-ish, you could come here. It's like your lawyer in your pocket. And I built an MVP. And we got into an incubator towards the end of 2020. Getting into that incubator was my first story as senior editor at Tech Avar, and I couldn't do all 3. And so, day before yesterday, I think I got the notification that they are going to take down my domain because sometimes you do things for the plot and they don't pan out. It's not. It's why you figure out the plot down the line because, again, some things work, some things don't. And sometimes when they don't work and they're really what you want, you go again. So you see how it came down to making a decision, and it was, I'd gotten a job that was paying me my bills, and it was good. I was working in media, it was nice. But I also wanted to do music, so it just felt like there was no place for another thing. And so this was a logo for Contract Aid. 2020 had a lot of moments. This was one of my first brushes with the mainstream. I wrote on Adekunle Gold's 2020 album, Afropop Volume 1. He had, when Go With Me came out, Simi had shared it on her story, and Adekunle Gold had seen it, followed me, replied, oh, we should work. I mean, it didn't happen immediately, it was months down the line, but I was in studio with him and wrote the song Exclusive that features Olayinka Ehi. But this was 2020. This is Floch, the brilliant rapper, featured on the Ignis Brothers album. That's Ruka. This is 2 of us in the Saint or Sinner video. This is our photo shoot. That's Rafi. These were pictures we had put together because we wanted to, for the campaign. We're doing a very interesting thing. Oh, this is the video for Saint or Sinner. Directed by our friend, Che.
I feel it coming. I feel the weight of things to come, of things I've done. The water's waking, and it's become a part of me.
So Cherry ended up using that song in his film, an Eldritch Horror, a horror film, so you can see where all that came from. It was the first song on the album. The album has 9 songs, and you should listen to it. It's beautiful. But at this time, in 2020, we did the Course of Our Life sessions to make the album ready. However, at this time, we're working on other songs, a bunch of other songs. We're constantly working on multiple things. But If Now was one of them. That'll become apparent why later. In 2020, I mostly did side gigs, but working with Contract Aid meant that I was able to sort of build a company's identity by myself, like designing what our fonts were, our colors, all of that was. I didn't design the actual logo, but everything else. We got playlisted, which is a huge thing with music when you have your album ready or your song. And I think this is something that maybe you guys can be easier on your faves. When you have a song to put out, you usually need like 5 weeks lead time. In that time, you're pitching to people. You're like, Spotify Afro Indie playlist. Hey, my song will be perfect for you. Hey, this guy. But it's not even that direct. You're kind of pitching into thin air and hoping the gods of playlisting, are kind to you. But this was, again, this is all in addition to all that we've learned before. And at this time, the thinking around music is less that it's not a serious thing. The thinking now is that now we may not be mainstream or any of that stuff, but it doesn't matter. We're just doing music because we like to do music. The music was still taking money, but were doing it. I had to pivot. The last time I didn't have a job, so now I get to Tech Cabal. And it's a pivot because while I had written, I had been an editor, I'd worked as that, and I'd worked in tech. I had not worked in tech media, but in my head, you take this, and you take that, right. So, and that was essentially my pitch before joining. I was like, I have hella experience with writing and editing. I've actually worked in tech. Who better to report? And yes, they gave me the job. I was senior editor at Tech Cabal. What that meant was I was editing everything really. The newsletter, I was writing the My Life in Tech series. Some of my most fun times. Sometimes I go back to that time, I forget how every week I had to put out an article. It was a thing while editing everybody else's. And I talked to very interesting people across Africa about the work they've done. And what made this very interesting for me is because I recognized at this time, for the plot was a thing I didn't have a name for, but I knew what I was doing at this point. I knew that I was just doing stuff and seeing what happens. And so when I'm doing an interview, and my first interview at Tech Cabal was with Bez, because he had pivoted. He was starting a tech company that was going to fund a lot of music tech ideas. Then there was a skincare brand that required that I send pictures of my face and figure out what I needed and all of that. So I tried to find interesting things because, again, I'm all about, I don't think any particular thing has to be boring. I think you will just need to be interested enough in it. And so that was, what I was in at Tech Cabal. Now, for the music, while we're here, Don't Call It a Comeback. This is from Mama Said Knock You Out. It's a song by LL Cool J, released in 1990, I believe. And it continues. It said, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. And yeah, I should have put that part, but I like this like this. Because essentially 2021 was, remember, in all this time, during the Stoic, the solo artist is not really around. In 2020, after the NSAS protests, I put out a song about the NSAS protests. And so that's kind of the only thing I had out. And so in 2021, while I worked at Tech Cabal, I put out If I Am. If I Am was a comeback in the sense that I knew what my sound was before the Ignis Brothers project, pre-Rafi, right? We had heard Go With Me. That was the first thing we had done with Rafi. And I was like, If I Am is different in that it's not the same as what I've put out before, but I don't want to do too much genre-wise. I want a simple piano ballad. I want to make a sad love song. And we did. I also put out The Tree with Tiwadara, one of my more experimental songs. I really love it as well. So this is 2021. This is my ID card. This is when I switched to Zikoko. I work at Zikoko, and I'm editor-in-chief. I moved from senior editor at Tech Cabal to Zikoko when the role opens up. I wasn't sure I wanted to, but Ruka, who's also in the band with me, is managing editor at Zikoko, and she's like, yeah, you should apply. And I'm like, okay. And I did. And this I put here because there's a collective called We Talk Sound. They did a project every year called LOFN, and I had been in the last two editions as doing the Stoic, and so in the year 2021, because Dwin had If I Am going on, we decided to put out Lighthouse under that project. But 2021 was also the year I started documenting myself intentionally. Every photo shoot that was done before was done because there was something coming out. This at first started as I want to do a birthday photo shoot. I call up my friend Ugo, Hitch of Life. He's a very amazing artist, and he takes these pictures of me around my house. Now, I'm highlighting this particular video because Afro Vibe Studio partnered with Jameson to create a series of just performance videos for songs, and it timed well with when I had If I Am coming out. And so I asked them if it was possible to do a partnership, essentially let this be a thing that you do for my song to help it go out, and then this becomes the video, right? And so we do this for If I Am. I'm going to play a bit of it and then...
I've been caught in a lie once before. I said I wouldn't cry if you closed the door, but the tears they come and they're fast as hell. See, you broke my heart, but I wish you well.
People kept asking me, why are you smiling singing a sad song? I'm like, it gets to a point you can't be crying all the time. You will just smile. So 2021, a photo shoot for photo shoot's sake. In one day, Rafi and I make Streets and Winning Bread. If you've heard both of these songs, you know that that's a very stark difference in terms of genre, in terms of just what we're doing. But it was important. I liked that session particularly because it was also, we talk a lot during our sessions, and it was a session where we were certain, we're just like, we're going to do this music thing, right? Like, we're just going to have to go right ahead and do it properly. And Streets felt like a song close enough to the mainstream. And so we said, yeah, we're going to do this song. And because someone had told me something, a friend of mine, I sent her an early version of Ufunaim before it came out. And she goes, and we have a very honest conversation, so, anything I'm saying now wasn't harsh. It was just like, I know why the music isn't going as far. I'm like, pray tell, why? And she goes, it's because of how the music makes you feel. A song like Ufunaim is a song that is personal. And so I will not take the aux and play it. I will feel exposed. My friends will turn and ask me, hope everything is okay. And I understand that fear. In fact, so when people say things like, I'm not an artist that doesn't, I'm very much into pop culture. I listen to everything that comes out, from Akbala to whatever. I listen to everything. And so I understand the feeling. I'm like, I get that. It's the music I want to make, but I get that. And so we said, we'll make you something for your aux right now. For 2021, we did all this. Again, learning more. I'm working in media now, so I'm learning. This is something that also applies to how we work at St. Clair now. We're very conscious of our media partners, our people in media, because what tends to happen is you're a young artist trying to make it, and so you try and reach out to, and of course, it's not like they're always as welcoming, but you reach out to media people and they help out. They write reviews, they do things, and the trend usually is that once anything starts happening for you, you kind of disappear. You don't really talk to the same media people. It happens across industries and tech, and what you tend to just sideline. Once you get to a certain point, you sideline the media that kind of helps along the way. And so it's something we are very mindful of. Okay. So, in Hamilton, sorry, is that me? Okay. In Hamilton, Broadway musical, there is a scene. It's called the 10 Dual Commandments. The two characters, Hamilton and Burr, they are both the seconds of the people about to duel, about to shoot themselves. And Burr is trying to explain to Hamilton, we don't need to do this. There's no all of that. And Hamilton says, yeah, no, the fight is going to have to come on. And Burr says, okay, so we're doing this. Now, again, I've taken that and said, this is what 2022 was. It was, okay, so we're going to just try this music thing. We're going to keep our job because it's hard out here. But we're going to try this music thing. And then this happens. While I work as editor-in-chief as the Coco, we put out Streets. Daylight is a house song with Bigfoot in your face as a producer. You should listen to it. It's nice. If you like to rave and party, it's nice. I'll put out GKW, Winning Bread, and put out Without Your Love. These two would form Love Lane, the EP that St. Clair would release in 2023. But we're going to get a bit into GKW. This is supposed to, of course, be a case study, so I figured at least I'll walk you through how some songs happen. But just to go over my 2022. In 2022, a team starts to form. I have a manager, a friend running PR. We're all just, in fact, at this time, a lot of roles are not quite defined. It's more, we're just doing stuff, right? This is Wine with Dwin, my first intimate concert. I said, I have fans who feel this deeply about the music. I can fill up a small room. Why don't we fill up a small room? And so we do it. And we partner with Yellowtail Wine, and we make it an evening of first a wine class, and then music by me. And best time. We had the best time. I feel like I can say that about our shows, but this was really fun. Another Shoot for Shoot's Sake by E.A. Sergey. This is me at Fireboy DML's concert in January of 2022. It started my year, and it felt very validating. I never shared this with anybody, but there's a small regret I have where this happens in January, and Streets, the mainstream song, comes out like a month later. And so the song I do on here is Ifunaya. And while, of course, the audience is very excited, but I feel like Streets would have done something there. But it's fine. Again, you allow things happen. It's for the plot. It's in service of the story. So now I can say this to you, right? And then there was Z-Fest. Oh, tidbit. First Z-Fest 2021, Ignis Brothers performs there while we're working as Zikoko, and Dwin the Stoic performs in 2022. This is Rafi. We put out Streets this year. We're starting to be more out there. So, Rise. In 2022, a friend of mine, Adiola, he runs a production company called Two Brothers with a friend of his, and they had a job. They had an ad to make for Rise Fest, the company. And he had reached out to me with just information. And then I say to him, but I'm not making a jingle, right? You want an actual song. And because, again, I'd been itching to do this since I'd heard Labyrinth's Don't Fence Me In. It's not his song. He didn't write it, but he does his version of it. And it's a song about just not being fenced in. I just want to open roads. And the song is for Mini Cooper, the car brand. And it's on it's on streaming platforms. You can stream it. It's a great song. And when I see that, I see the ad. The ad is a few minutes of it, but the song is longer on social media. I'm like, this is cool. Makes sense. I want to do that. And so when he reaches out, I'm like, I'm going to make a full song. He says, nah, not jungle, proper music. And so I said, cool. This is at 12:08. 1:16, I reached back to him. I didn't put his reply here, but he affectionately calls me a madman just because of how quickly I reply him. But I go to my room and I think, and the first thing I think of is that I want to have a tiny soundbite at the beginning. I want something that people hear and think of Rise. Now, the entire song, in making it, I want to get into the lyrics here and why I did them. Some days can feel so long, longer than a song, shorter than a dream. Explained, it really means that days feel long. Yes, they do. And they feel longer than a song. Songs are usually short, so days are usually longer than that. But the dream, the thing you have, your days are always shorter than them. The thing that you want to be is always farther than the thing you are now. But we're doing what we can, making our plans as we are known to do. And this formed the basis of the song Rise. I'm going to play you the ad now. And when we're making the song, we were mindful of the word rise and just creating that feeling of going up. And the sound bite I mentioned, I believe, so I send him a voice note. Immediately I do this, I believe. I think it's, oh no, this. Okay, so I think it's on the, there's supposed to be another audio there, but you know what, it's fine. Just listen to the actual song.
Some days can feel so long, longer than a song, shorter than a dream. And we're doing what we can, making our plans, 'cause we know what to do. And it's not always
everywhere. Nigerians are going the extra mile, doing whatever it takes to rise. We're making all the moves, working twice as hard today to elevate tomorrow's chances. We're taking all the right shots, building wealth, protecting our finances, and investing in assets that help us defy gravity. Everyone wants to rise. And now, with a portfolio of dollar investments selected and managed by experts, everyone can rise. Dollar investments that help you grow.
I had to mouse, like, so again, so you're going to hear how I produce. So let's get into some truths. I don't physically play an instrument. A lot of the instrument playing that I do to make my music happens here, and then I go tell the producer. So it goes ba 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 ba, and then he does it. And so what tends to happen is I have an idea. Usually it's a voice note. And my song GKW is what I'm going to get into. You're going to kind of see how it becomes a song. The first thing is a voice note I make sometime in March 2022. It's one of those days, I'm sitting by my desk, I'm drumming, because you will hear just a lot of, I'm drumming and singing. The idea, the words don't make sense initially, some parts do, but let me, okay. I'm trying to find, sorry, is there a way I can, let me see. So there is a voice note I want to play, but I'm not getting it for some reason. No. Hi. I'm trying to play in order, but I don't seem to be able to. Yeah. So while we're doing that, making music for me, a lot of times in the beginning is a very solitary affair. It's me in a room, playing with words, figuring out what works, right? No, that's not the one. It's supposed to be like 3 here. Yeah, what's the next one? Okay, so this is the voice note actually. I don't think you can hear. Okay, so I want to play it from the top. How did you do it? Where's you? Okay, so while we saw that out, okay. Okay, so this is the voice note. That's the drumming.
I'm here alone, too far from home. Take me with you, burn away. See, time will tell. Won't you be here? Take me away to God knows where.
Yeah, it gets loud, but so this is the first version of the instrumental he sends.
Grandmaster.
Then I make some changes.
So, you know, you have the current, what is there now, but there should be like,
Yes, that's what I do. That's why composer is on my. So this is me recording when I've written the lyrics. I'll walk you through the lyrics in a bit.
Please hold me
I sent him a voice note recording it because I'm not going to studio yet.
Take me away to God knows where.
Okay, so this is me. Again, this is how, randomly happens. I'd recorded this voice note probably a couple weeks before. And so I just sent to him. I'm just like, he's a producer who I've just known his work. He's a young producer, very talented. And I sent him this. I'm like, an idea I had a few weeks ago. He's like, okay, cool. A few days later, he sends me the first beat. Now, into the making of the song, the actual lyrics. So after I have that bass to go with, I then start to think, what am I writing about, right? A couple things are clear in the voice note, in the rough version. I say the words, oh, don't you see, I'm here alone. This happens, right? Sometimes in some songs, the freestyles come with the words and they're just right. It's the thing that it also comes from just multiple times. You're working on music over time, you tend to start having better freestyles. It's just like every skill, you get better at it. And so GKW didn't start with a name. Well, it did start because, again, God Knows Where was clear in the voice note as well. It was a thing that take me away to God Knows Where. Then I started to play with the idea of that. What does it mean to go to God Knows Where? Of course, I wanted to play on the theme of grief, but also allow enough leeway for this could be a song about missing someone, right? Now that we have our theme, so we go into the words. We walked across the city, and we saw the sights so pretty. Now, I love to rhyme. If there's one thing I would do, it's rhyme, because it's just nice, right? So I'm following, there's a rhyme pattern this is called. So it's AAB, and I think it's AAB as well. So it's a thing where these two rhyme, this doesn't, where it rhymes with the one down here. These two rhyme, but you get what I mean. This part, so what this first verse tries to do, and what most of my first verses try to do, is place you in the song. So let's figure out where we are now. We walked across the city, and we saw the sights so pretty. There's no way I'm doing that without you now. So we already know that someone is not around. We have to do things alone. It seems everyone is doing just fine, but I feel a pain that's just mine, and grief can feel that way. No matter how much your friends are around, everybody's around, what you're feeling is not quite what they're feeling, right? But I feel a pain that's just mine. What will I do without you now? But don't you see? I'm here alone. You're too far from home. Take me with you. And when it's time to go, please hold me close and take me away to God knows where. I try to avoid any particular, what's it called now? You know, I think that the afterlife is a huge question mark, and so I just leave it that way. The second verse goes into how we're dealing with it. So the world will get its color back, I know. Like, I'm not deluded. I don't think this will go on forever. But it doesn't mean that I'll let go. Don't you see that I'm not whole? And it's the reason why I sit all day and wonder what lies here and what lies yonder. Or my days are feeling longer and look to the sky and hope you come down. At this point, you kind of realize what's going on in terms of, even if I was dropping metaphors before, by the time you get to the sky and coming down, you kind of know what's about. I wanted to play you guys. So before I get into playing, I want to play you the entire song, GKW. We had a concept when we were putting out this. It was a 3-pack. There's GKW, there's Winning Bread, and there's GKW Reprise. And we had a thing where GKW would be for like a morning, right? It's an earlier day. Because there's a part of the song that's just, it's a beat drop, and so it's like a release of just all the emotions you're feeling. Winning Bread is for sunset. You're back from work, and it's a long day. And Winning Bread is about the grind. It's, I think it's here somewhere, actually. Yeah, this is a bit of Winning Bread.
You dance, not 'cause you want to. You know you have to. 'Cause sitting still just won't do. And you laugh, not 'cause it's funny, but you're tired of crying, and it's all you've done for fun.
I did that. But that's Winning Bread. The entire gist of Winning Bread is this. So the chorus goes, life can be a trip sometimes. You're winning bread, you're losing breath. But what will be, but can it please be good? It's both a reality check and a prayer. It's just life is hard, and you're winning bread, you're losing breath. It's the truth. You're trying to get money, and you're dying slowly. But they say what will be, but at least let some of that be good for me. And so we made this project and put it out in 2022. This is GKW. I think, let's listen to it.
Grandmaster.
Walked across the city and we saw the sights so pretty. There's no way I'm doing this without you now. And it seems everyone is doing just fine, but I feel the pain that's just mine. What will I do without you now? Oh, don't you see, I'm here alone. You're too far from home. Take me with you. And when it's time to go, please hold me close and take me away to God knows where. His color back, I know, doesn't mean that I'll let go. Don't you see that I'm not whole? And it's the reason why I sit all day and wonder what lies here and what lies yonder. All my days are feeling longer. Look to the sky and hope you come down. Oh, don't you see, I'm here alone. You're too far from home. Take me with you. And when it's time to go, please hold me close and take me away to God knows where.
So that was GKW. And you can see the production has a bit more oomph, and that's because Rafi then took a lot of that beat drop part and just made it fuller, made it more movable. Now, at the end of 2022, what had we done? We had done an intimate show. We had gotten playlisting for GKW, for Streets. We had done a photo shoot for photo shoot's sake. The team is assembling. We're doing more live performances. We've done a concept project. And we have a song on a Netflix original because people like the music and they reached out. This one, I can't really say that we did a lot to get it. It was more that the music was good. Someone working on the team at Inkblot was like, we really want the song for Far From Home, is a series. And we got placed there. I think that was our first on the streaming services. But that was fun as well. It was good. It was validation, of course, but it was also money. It was also money. But in the year 2022, we also had a couple of things we worked on. So we had started doing the thing where we worked with brands, right? We said, we can give you this. We can put you in front of these group of people who love the music, and in extension will look at you if you work with us. So work with us. And that's what we did with Rise, with One Bank, with a placement in Without Your Love video, and with Yellowtail. And we get to 2023. The last of this. The last pivot. For now. Yes. But I want to explain what Be Undeniable is. It's kind of, you know, when I was younger, I used to think that the idea of a vision and mission was very much an old person thing, and very much, how do you say, aspire to perspire. It's very, but I found that starting a business will make you that way, because you need to gather, I call it delusion, but there's probably a better word. But you need to gather, I would call it self-belief, to a point where it doesn't even make sense. But you need it, because the things you're doing will chip away at whatever you have gathered, so you better be gathering a lot. And what Being Undeniable was for us at St. Clair was that we wanted to be able to do work, and we didn't want to have to be, there was nothing else apart from the work being good. Like, we owed it to ourselves and to everyone else to do things the right way, to sign split sheets, to reach out to our media partners and create a relationship with them, to be undeniable, right? We wanted to, everything we're doing. And at this point, again, remember the team is assembling. My stylist is putting me in very fly clothes. Team is making sure we're getting things done. Timmy is killing PR. Is our PR head. He's talking to everybody, making sure we have communication lines with as many people as we can. And slowly, that image we saw earlier, the music with all the things, starts to form in my head. And St. Clair Records exists for two reasons. Actually, for multiple reasons, but let's go with two. First, we really want to, I would say changing the soundscape sounds very altruistic and like a big goal, but I believe that the beauty of us as people is that I will not have the same conversation with anybody in the room. Just your lived experiences, that you stubbed your toe in a particular place one time can inform your idea of that place. That means when I talk to you about that place, I get a different idea, right? And so what I've tried to do here is we want to have that happen with music. I want people to listen and just hear something else, hear new things, hear old things, but done in interesting ways. I always say to creators that I see us as custodians of stories. Those of us who tend to believe in spiritual things, you have the idea that these stories are rarely ever yours. They come to you. And so, you panel beat them, you make them into what they need to be, but they come to you. And so, essentially, you have a service. And so, if you decide to not do this thing for fear of whatever, you're doing yourself a disservice. But what happens is, with doing this work, we found that we are getting closer to the thing we want, which is that we want people to hear different kinds of music. I think this year alone, we put out a bunch of, in 2023, we put out Love Lane. Love Lane was our big project. It was the first project from St. Clair as an independent label. It was us saying we're around. These songs will appeal to you, mainstream or not. It's a bold claim, but we stand by it, because I've never really subscribed to the thing where a particular genre of music should not be enjoyed because it's pop. No, I think that music, like most arts, it's just down to how you're feeling. How's it doing you, as we say, right? And I'll admit to something here. I used to be very snobby, like early 2013, 2014, I think. I was very much that person who's like, yes, I listen to special music. But I learned from two people, Fela and James Brown, how they talked about music. James Brown invented funk, right? He's a god of just soul, funk, all of that. And when he would rehearse with his band, they would want to be technical. And he would go, no, it's a feeling. How's it feeling? It's not, sometimes it's math, right? You want to be on the right notes, but sometimes, and there is a song that comes to mind when I think of this. It's Superstition by Stevie Wonder. He's a young kid at the time, plays all the instruments on this song with no metronome. So nothing is guiding what he's doing. He's just playing. But you listen to it and you don't hear any faults because, again, it's music. You're feeling it and you're playing it, right? So now, we are here where I know you noticed what I was doing and for the plot. And now it's no longer necessarily for the plot. I figured out that this is the plot. And we are now, but the beautiful thing about doing things for the plot is that you can keep doing things for the plot within your, the plot you now know of, and then try things outside of that, right? Releasing Sit for us was a ballad, and a guitar ballad, and we just figured, you know what, before we drop Love Lane, we're a new record label, we want to see what our new distributor can get us, all of that. And we do that, and we put out Love Lane. Now, I want to talk about all the other parts of 2023 before I get into Love Lane. 2023 is the year that, in 2022 we said, okay, we're doing this. In 2023, we're doing this for real. And what that meant was 3 shows of our own. We started a series, an acoustic night with Dwin. We did it in Lagos in July, Ibadan in December, and an acoustic Christmas, like a special edition, in Lagos again. And 3 intimate concerts, 3 beautiful nights. Here I had 7 other indie acts, perform with me. Here I had 3 or 4 others based in Ibadan. And here I had a friend of mine, Celeste, work with me. I'm highlighting this because I'm also very particular about what St. Clair wants to do in terms of the industry. To borrow a word from the tech bros, I am bullish about the Nigerian music industry. I think that if we tried, we could have something important here, because I like to highlight that nothing that's happening for us now as Nigerian music is new, right? All the attention, the world is excited about us. It's happened. It's happened before. Sonny Ade didn't get a Grammy nomination just because he was out there. He was performing in Japan. Chrissy Igbogo was performing in Japan. People were aware of our music. But something happened down the line where the market was not a market. And so everybody left. Now they're back again. And we're excited again. But I would like us to actually build the industry so that indie artists are not coming out to expect to suffer, per se. I think that we're in a very unique situation where even if you have a number of people listening to your music, there's a high chance you still don't find any monetary gain. Streaming doesn't pay that much, right? In fact, you see our little diagram there, those are all the many ways you have to explore. And I mean, that's the business side of it. And thankfully, I love this business, so we're doing this. But I think that I'm very particular about making sure that as many of us are informed, and we're trying to make the industry better. But last year had us do many things. We collaborated with a bunch of people. Particularly, one I'm very proud of is I got to perform on the Fashion Week stage, Lagos Fashion Week, and it was in collaboration with Studio Emo. I wore one of his pieces, which I still have. So yeah, I own custom Studio Emo, and it was a beautiful experience for me because I like style, I like fashion. I feel like as many of these things that I'm interested in. Now, for example, visual art, as you can see, I've not tried painting because my friends, who have seen my painting insist that I should not do it again. But you know what? I will listen to them. Watch out for the next pivot. But this was 2023. It was a lot. We shot visualizers for the Love Lane songs. One bank was on the Without Your Love video. We got placed in the Disney documentary that came out in March called Madu. No relation. I feel like I must say that. It was the weirdest email to get. It's like, sync placement, Madu. I'm like, okay, why are you shouting at me? Because it's in capital like this. And then I ask, oh, what's this about? But I open the email and I see it's a young boy. At the time he was 12. His name is Anthony Madu. He's a ballet dancer. I don't know if you ever saw his videos. It went viral at some point. He was doing ballet in the streets, and then he got into a very prestigious college where he could learn ballet and got scholarship and that whole journey. And so Streets was selected to be in that. And the first few seconds of the film, you hear Streets playing like it's on a radio or something. It's very cool. So that video I decided to bring here because there's something I always say, I've said to my team, but I always say to other musicians, where I find that with art in general, but music, I tend to keep it there, is a lot of the work you do is inventory, is non-perishable inventory. A song is never dead. Except there's things to tweak, but it's a song, it will always be a song. And whatever can happen to a song can always happen to it. So a song can always be in a film. At the time we're getting the placement, it's 2023. Streets came out 2022. But the thing actually comes out 2024. So that's 2 years after Streets came out. Now, this has happened over time with different songs. For example, the Netflix series that we got into, The Lonely is the song that got into it. This was 2022. The Lonely was released in 2018 on the Heavy Heart album, right? These are not things I just say, it's things that I've seen happen. Someone hits you up that, oh, this one song from that year. That's another thing I have found with the music is like, people will own your songs. People will take ownership of them. They will say, this one is my own. And depending on what they do. So the other day someone tweeted, oh, I just wrote this whole paper I needed to write with Streets playing on repeat. I don't know why. I don't think there's anything in the song particularly that will help you with your academic endeavors. But it's music. Once it's out of my hands, once we distribute it. In fact, I tell you something, I listen to the songs before they come out a lot, so just a ton. It didn't start off as a thing I was doing on purpose, but at some point I started to realize that was kind of me. I don't know how to put it, but enjoying the songs, of course, but by the time it comes out, it's yours now. And you will play it, you will do whatever you want with it. And it's always fun to hear how people are interacting with these songs and whatnot. So Love Lane. We said we want to do 5 stories of love and just take people on a journey, just all the many ways you can encounter love. We're about to see, what's it called? I don't know. Sorry, I was supposed to come back here. So this is us trying to do, again, that's a project, 5 songs, 5 perfect songs, right? That's what we said. And so Streets is one of them. Now this video is from the Acoustic Christmas show in December of 2023, last year. And we had not put Streets in the set list. And my fans, who tend to always want to fight me, were like, yeah, so what do you mean no Streets? And so we did a karaoke session, which we tend to do at our shows. And so we did a karaoke session where we just sang along to Streets. And this happened.
Sit there and you contemplate things between me when I'm out your way to you. Do things I would never do to you. Girl, it's not good if you need some space, but tell me that kind of condiments. And I miss you and I hope you hear this too. Baby, see, won't you please come cover me? See the streets don't tire me. We get things to do, get things to do. Baby, see, won't you please text, you said see you later. Girl, it's later now, sure you're on it. I'm not well and I'm not sleeping, no. Girl, no, girl. Believe me, I cannot deceive you. It's sweet love that I want to give you. If I mess up, I apologize, girl. No, baby, see.
So, that was Street. Someone said that the line in Street that goes, I'm not well and I'm not been sleeping, is just how dramatic Nigerian men can be. And you know what? Fair. The song was written with that in mind. I think it was more a, how would you honestly plead with your lover to just, be with you? Called Home.
It took me too long to tell you I love you. The liquor's too strong, and sometimes I feel bad for my liver, but that's beside the point. Seems I always miss the point. Oh, piece by piece I am falling apart. Save me from myself. Hopeless, hoping I'm calling again. Oh, darling, can't you tell? And home is all I ever knew you were. And home's the only place I know to run. And I'm still hoping that you hear me now. There's nothing here for me outside your arms. I wanna come home.
Home, home, home. Tripping over conversations. Same road, different destinations. I'd hope that you'd meet me halfway still.
Okay, so that first song was Home, featuring Iferaka. She used to be based in Abuja, but she's based in Toronto now, and beautiful voice, as you can hear. But one very important thing about that song was we had written Home in 2020. Again, remember, me and Rafi have just been making music, some drafts here, some songs will finish. Just, I feel like most creatives understand the half pile, right? And we sent it to her. It was one of the first times where I'm featuring someone and I don't try to tell them what to do. I just said, this is what I said. This, for example, the conversation is one where one person comes, so it's a duet. So it's two people meeting who are estranged lovers, and one person goes, which is me. I go, it took me too long to tell you I love you. But, home is all I ever thought you were, and yeah, I messed up, but you're home, can I come home? And essentially she says no, right? But in the most poetic way. So you enjoy it. It's a beautiful song. It's a thing that I enjoyed mostly because it was us. It was allowing that freedom, seeing another artist see what you've done and go, aha, okay, and give you something back, and it was beautiful. I'm playing the two collabs we did because I want to just show you a bit of a contrast. So Home is the first song on the album, Don't Wait Up is the last one.
I told my homies up and down for it too long. They said you need to find a body, you need to find somebody. Well, to be fair, it's been a while since I've been lost, so I wanna take a chance. I wonder if you dance with me. Whoa, there, I came prepared. Break ways you can repair. Say whoa, there, I came prepared. Break ways you can repair. Don't wait up, not coming home till morning. This Trini girl, she's for me. I want
audacious of me to call. Cause you ain't think tonight I'd be hitting you up at all. But between the music, dark rooms, and bright lights, I just had to tell you I seen something we might like. Fine girl, I seen when she entered my eyesight. 5 foot something, but in heels, she my height. Dark skin, fine face, you know the right type. So I had to step up and check to see if the vibe's right. Now I'm hoping that she gon' come to where I'ma take it. No long talk, no time to be hesitating. Leaned in, told her I know that I'm sounding crazy. I want you to know I want you, and also I got a lady, what's up? She told me that the honesty made a lust for me. One-on-one cool, but 3 could be better company. Bad girl want me, but I don't think she enough for me. I need you to pull up, don't worry about waiting up for me.
Don't wait up, not coming home till morning. This Trini girl, she's for me.
So, Don't Wait Up, also an interesting collab, because when I'd written the song, Don't Wait Up was supposed to mean, okay, to whomever it may concern, I'm out tonight, I'm having a fun time, I've met someone I like, so don't wait up, I will not be coming home. However, Killer Chief took it a step further and likened his situation to a polyamorous relationship where he's calling a partner to tell them not to wait up. In fact, to come and join them where they are, because things are happening. 10 is happening, as they say. So, in 2023, this is our first year as an independent label. We worked with PR agencies to push Love Lane. We have a French song on there called Allez. Allez got into an international French radio station's playlist thanks to the work we've done. We got on radio. I mean, again, we've been doing radio kind of from the beginning, but not as well, I would say. And so now we had, again, gathered all the things we needed to gather. And it's very interesting because in a film, this would not be the point in our hero's journey where we would breathe fine, where things are okay. Some things are happening, they've powered up a bit, and so they can face the next challenge, but there are bigger challenges, right? And so we are still gathering, we're still doing things for the plot. Now, 2024. That video you watched of Streets, on Easter Sunday, I woke up and Two-Face had reposted that video to his stories. That started a lot of things. It's most of which has just been an insane amount of comments on TikTok. But it's been, again, validating. It felt like the mainstream is listening. We hit a peak of #2 on Viral Songs Nigeria charts on Spotify. And all this has happened in the last, again, it's not been a lot of time. It's 11th. I think there's even updated, I think this is 51 now or so. And it's just been, I feel like for us at St. Clair, it's more we've been saying this. We've been saying this. And it's because of this belief that when it comes to the idea of what is mainstream, yes, there are sounds that are popular. But when it comes down to it, music is still music. You just need people to connect to it, right? I don't expect that this song will always be the song for everybody for whom it is the song now, right? You fall out of love and some love songs are like, don't bring that near me, right? But then life happens. You do your own things for the plot, and somewhere down the line, I've seen people tell me things like, it's been 2 years since I listened to this song, but I'm back again, and because of how long this has been happening, people can say things like, it's been 2-3 years since I listened to it. But what tends to happen is we also kind of come back to the fold. And it's fun to witness. So, I wouldn't say it's the end. For us, this feels like, we're stepping into what we're supposed to be doing. For me personally, 2023, leaving a paying job to start a business, a thing I was always terrified of. I didn't want to start a business, especially not in Nigeria. But you only fight the thing you really want to do for so long. You only fight the plots for so long. You have to, at some point, go. And it's this interesting thing with crossroads, right? I was at the crossroads at multiple times, but to start the business, St. Clair, I arrived at the crossroads while I was working as editor-in-chief at the Cocoa, and this crossroads laid out some things for me. First is that if editor-in-chief at the Cocoa was my only job, it would still be a lot. Now, combine that with you're trying to start a music career, you're sure you want to start a music career now. yeah, they might not work. And that decision was always there with every job. And it's there until, something wins. And I think music won. I know that I don't miss the job. I liked doing the stuff I did at Gogo. I liked being able to create things and just watch them go but now I get to do it at St. Clair, and yeah. So I was going to say, it's not the end. The plot thickens. Thank you.